Mom and dad immigrated to New York from Hong Kong in 1970 for a better life. With only $500 in their pocket, they found an amazing apartment on Valentine's Avenue in the Bronx. Little did they know, Valentine's Avenue was called the Heroin District. During that time, New York City was plagued with crime, drugs, and violence. And I remember back in the early 80s, when I was 7 years old, born and raised in the Bronx, the lobby of our building was like a fucking zoo, just chock full of shit and puke, and the smell made me nauseous all the time. As soon as we walked into the apartment and mom and dad locked the doors, they rarely let me outside to play. Growing up, I felt sheltered and alone because there were no kids my age to hang out with, and we were literally the only Chinese family in a predominantly Hispanic and Black neighborhood. Yo, we stood out like a yellow box of Whitman's assorted chocolates. And I spent my days staring outside the window of our second floor apartment or watching TV in our living room down the hall. And outside, I would always see the older kids looking mad fresh with their members only jackets, dark blue Levi jeans, high top pony kicks, laughing, giggling, smoking blunts, and drinking 40 ounces of apple juice called Old E and Crazy Horse. Whoa, what a cool name for apple juice. I really wish mom bought me that brand. And I wanted to be just like them, the Jackson 5. And I begged mom and dad to let me hang out with them, but like a broken record, no good, stay home, watch TV, okay? I'm like, yo, chill. And that's what I did. I sat down and I watched TV. And one of my favorite TV shows growing up was High Feather. It's a series about a bunch of white kids that go to summer camp. Oh my God. I got so inspired watching all those kids swimming in a lake, singing songs over a campfire, and roasting hot dogs. That shit was mad chill. And I wanted to be just like them. And one afternoon, I walked up to mom. I was like, Mommy, can you take me camping? She said, okay. So she goes to the bedroom, takes out a queen-size bed sheet from the dresser drawer, and she pitches this huge tent in our living room. We ordered Chinese takeout and watched Silver Spoons. Another afternoon, I walked up to Dad. Daddy, can you take me fishing? Okay. We walk into the bathroom, and my dad fills up the bathtub with water, and he dumps a can of sardines in there. Looking back at it today, mom and dad provided me a fun and safe environment to be a kid. However, things turned for the worse one night. I'm standing in the kitchen with my mom, and I hear someone approach the door of our apartment and put the key in the lock. And my mom walks up to the door and looks through the peephole, and it's my dad. And she's like, Marcia, what's wrong? How come you can't open the door? In the background, I hear footsteps, and they're getting louder and louder. And my mom's like, what happened? What? Oh my God, hiya. And I hear someone scream, give me your fucking money or I'll cut your throat, you fucking chink, followed by pounding noises and screaming as my mom stared through that peephole in fear. The noises soon dissolve, and I hear the footsteps, and they fade throughout the night. And that key finally turns in the lock, and my dad rushes into the apartment, and my mom shoves the door shut. My dad is as white as a ghost. He's shaking like a leaf. He's out of breath. His white button-down dress shirt is ripped, untucked, and covered in dirt. And I see him holding his fist in his hand, and I could see blood dripping throughout the knuckles of his fingers onto our kitchen floor. And I stand there, and I stare at it, not in fear, and obviously not in amusement. It's a lot to process for a 7-year-old past his bedtime. And I remember the last thing my mom said was, damn it, go to sleep. Don't make trouble, okay? And I see my mom wrapping my dad's hand up with a kitchen towel like a boxer during halftime. After that incident, we moved to a predominantly white neighborhood called Pelham Parkway in the Bronx. My parents bought a house. I got my own room and a backyard surrounded by trees. It was a picture-perfect dream that soon became a picture-perfect nightmare. When I was 13, I was walking to school, and I hear someone scream, you fucking chink, Go back to China and eat a ball of rice. Startled, because I don't even like rice, and I look across the street and I see this middle-aged white man standing on his porch and giving me the middle finger. His name is Mr. Bazooka. And every morning I go to school, I have to pass by Mr. Bazooka's house, and he's always cursing me out and giving me the middle finger. I'm starting to feel really uncomfortable. And I tell Mom and Dad, and one day to confront him. And the following afternoon, someone threw a brick through my parents' window. Luckily, no one got hurt. After that incident, we stood out like a yellow post-it on a white picket fence. Everyone called us chink. Go back to China, eat a bowl of rice. You want me to break your other window? You want to die? It got so bad, my parents had to get bars for the windows and keep the porch light on all night. I felt like a prisoner in my own home, and I hated living in that neighborhood. And I begged Mom and Dad to move, but they told me, phase it out and walk the other way, the long direction to school. One day, I'm coming back home from school, and I see my neighbor across the street, Jerry, this crazy ex-Vietnam vet. And he's like, hey, kid, yeah, come here. Why? I got something for you. What? It's in my apartment. Okay. And I walk into his apartment, and he hands me a claw hammer. And he says, hey, kid, next time you see that motherfucker, I want you to beat the shit out of him until he dies. I'm like, cool, thanks. Next day, I'm getting ready for school. And the long way to school is under construction. So my only alternative option is to walk past Mr. Bazooka's house. And I'm scared as shit, excuse me, because I think he's going to kill me. So I take the claw hammer that Jerry gave me. And as I'm walking closer to his house, I don't see him on his porch. I see him walking down the street. So I follow him, and I take the claw hammer out of my bag. As I get closer to him, my heart is pounding out of my chest. There's pins and needles running through my veins. And I take the hammer, and I clock my arm, ready to crack his head open. And suddenly, he falls to the ground face first. And I'm like, wow, that was easy. And I'm standing over him, and he's convulsing like a fish out of water. And he's like saying, help me, my pills, please help me. And I stare at him, and I see a reflection of my dad. The night that he got stabbed, helpless and scared. So I walk over to the neighbor's house, and I knock on their door. And I'm like, hey, man, call an ambulance. I think this guy's about to die. An ambulance arrives and picks up Mr. Bazooka. For the next couple of weeks, I don't see Mr. Bazooka on his porch, and I start to get worried. Is he okay? Then one day, I'm walking to school, and I see him sitting on his porch. He looks really weak. He has a robe on and holding a cane. So I walk by, and I see him struggle to get out of his chair, and he's like, yo, fucking chink, die and eat a bowl of rice. And I'm like, fucking chink, die and eat a bowl of rice? What kind of logic is that? And I smile and walk away. Eventually he died, and a Cambodian family moved in. And a year later, a Black and Hispanic family moved on my neighborhood. The fabric of hate became extinct because my neighborhood became gentrified. Every time I eat a bowl of rice, I think about my mom and dad and how they immigrated to New York from Hong Kong in 1970 for a better life, and how hatred and racism made them resilient to the challenges of being an immigrant in this country. And it made me who I am today.